Hello and welcome to another video. In today's one we'll be looking at the tmnt, the Armageddon game, issue number 8, and yeah, this issue was pretty interesting for a few different reasons. And overall, I think this issue works well enough to be a conclusion to this story, but also in saying that, I don't really know how well it works as like an actual proper conclusion to the actual story itself. So it's one of these things for like, it's good in some parts but also bad in other parts, and it's just going to be one of those ones that I think we'll have to see over time if it did hold up really well or not, but yeah. So yeah, going into this issue, I did reread all the other issues before that, and I must admit I did enjoy the Armageddon game a little bit more reading it as one big story. And then going into this issue, it was pretty interesting. So the first time I did read this issue, I was a little bit disappointed with how they did end things, but then when I did reread it again, I did enjoy it a bit more. It's like, yeah, okay, this is actually a really good conclusion. So I think it's going to be like a really interesting issue, that the more we like go forward in time, the more I look back on this issue, it would just be interesting to see how well this one really holds up. Okay, so talking about the issue itself, I'm going to quickly talk about the little side story bit on Earth, and there wasn't really too much there really. It was just all these characters setting stuff up for the future, and stuff I probably won't really see again with no pussy, neutrinos and stuff like that. And I do think that overall, like, that bit there was okay and just setting things up. It was just okay, but also feel like very unnecessary just because I want to read the action, so yeah. But there were like a few little things in there that I do set up that were like actually like expanded upon in issue 140, with like backstory going on Prestator, Sally and Cersei, and also Cara Lewis is now part of a mutant like police force. So I do find stuff like that pretty interesting, and I do wonder how much of a big like shock value that would have been if I didn't know about that in issue 140. But overall, I think that like this majority of part of it was just okay, but as far as though like really unnecessary just because I really want to read the action, but like still okay nonetheless. Okay, so now talking about the actual main part about the issue, and this bit, I don't really know what to really say about it, just because with this part, it was just mainly action. I don't really know how much I can really talk about it, because again, it's just action, what can I really say about it? And don't get me wrong, it was like really cool to see, and we do get to see the Turtles with like mystic abilities, going against a giant rat king with the help of Shredder, and I must admit, I did find this like fight to be really good and really enjoyable, and it's really great. And I do think that like the first time which I did read it, I do think that this fight scene was a little bit short and just very quick and just, you know, over and done with. But I must admit, looking back on it now, it was actually a pretty decent fight, I would say. And yeah, that's all I really got to say about it. It was just a really fun fight to see like Turtles going against Rat King. I do think maybe this fight could have gone on a little bit longer, but at the same time, I don't really know how much you could really draw this fight out. So yeah. And then halfway through the fight, we do get to see the Pantheon family. They finally made their return into the game, and then they start fighting Rat King, and then Rat King kills them off one by one. Now this bit here, I was honestly quite surprised by this, just because I was not really expecting them to die, and with them showing up, I was somewhat expecting them to show up eventually, and I was somewhat like surprised that they would actually fight Rat King, but I'm a little bit disappointed that it's taken them like so long to actually get involved in the game and actually do something, so I just feel a little bit anticlimactic like this bit here. But that being said, I do think that all the fights which we did have in this one was really great. We've got Jaguar vs Rat King, Mammoth vs Rat King, who else? Cafano vs Rat King, and they found all these fights to be really good and really enjoyable, and the deaths themselves were really great and that's really shocking. And then out of nowhere, we do get to see Shribe comes into the fight, and that's when Kitsune gets the Turnstone and unleashes Chi-Yu to come into the Thin Place and kills everyone. And again, like this is something which I was not expecting to see, like you know, like connecting back to the was it Ghostbuster crossover, something which I was not really expecting to see or anything like that. And I must admit, it was really cool to see, and just seeing Chi-Yu just be at its full power, just killing everyone was pretty great, and just yeah, again, so amazing what it did in this bit here. It was just so great and amazing. But I also feel as though that at the same time, with Chi coming into this bit here, like just coming in and then blowing everyone up, it did feel very anticlimactic, just coming in and blowing everyone up. It didn't really feel like it had that big of a like bang. I know that's probably the wrong choice of words to use because it did blow up an explosion, but at the same time, we didn't just, you know, like they're mortal gods and they die by an explosion. It just seems very anticlimactic and just really disappointing. But I must admit, it did work for the most part. It's just, you know, it could have been better, I feel like. So with the Phantom family, they're more or less being written out of this series, which I do think is pretty good, just because I do think it's more or less cleaning the slate now of all villains and stuff like that. Also really getting rid of all the mystical god stuff, which I do think works in their favour. But also with that being said, with them more or less like writing out of the series and more or less saying that basically they're dead and they'll come back, I mean, are they forgetting their own logic in this universe, where these like characters are immortal and keep coming back? I mean, just sort of Ukko, who died in the Shroud in Hell storyline, and then come back in like the Armageddon game stuff. So, you know, like these characters are not dead, they're just, you know, gone for now. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we don't see them ever again, but at the same time, I wouldn't be too surprised if we do see them again, just because, again, they are immortal. So I do feel as though like, they are making this thing to be much bigger than what it actually is, unless they actually are dead, but they didn't really make it all too clear, so yeah. So on the next following pages, we do get to see Raphael talking to Old Hob and setting things up for next following issues and stuff like that, which are pretty interesting. So the first one we do get to see Shredder's going off to Dimension Z, which I must admit is really cool for a few reasons. Now one, I do feel as though that his character is basically done at this point, and I don't really see much reason for him to be on Earth or anything like that, and I do feel as though that his story is done. But at the same time, because he's going to Dimension Z and all that, I do feel as though like there are some stories there they could tell of his character, but I think that like they're more or less written him in like a very awkward position, where basically if he does continue in this universe, then he's not going to have much of a good like character, just because it's just going to be written off and stuff like that, and you're going to be left wondering, oh, like what should I do now? But if I do bring him back, then I do also feel as though like also ruin his character and stuff like that. So either way, his character is screwed. And then some other little small things was we do get to see Cry take Beam Rocksteady, Zodi, Chrissy, they go to the Thin Place with Casey Jones and the Punk Frog. So I don't really know what they're going to really see there or do anything there, but I feel as though like this could have been a really cool little mini series to do, but I don't think they're going to do anything like that. So yeah, but I do like that they are sending them off and doing some, like setting up for some stories and stuff like that. But at the same time, I think that like where they're going, I don't really think there's too much that we could tell there, but I think there could be something there depending on what we do with it, but yeah. And then we do get to see Old Hob is more or less on good terms with Raphael, and is creating a mutant island for basically mutants who want to go there and not interact with humans, which I do think is really good for his character, and I do think that like they set like Old Hob up in a really good position. Basically, he's on good terms with everyone now, and he's made up for his mistakes and stuff like that. And I feel as though like again with his character, he's all had the same sort of problem with like Shredder, but more or less they've written him off to be in a good position. But at the same time, you're always going to be wondering like what's Old Hob going to be doing. And if we do bring him back, then also going to be sort of like maybe ruin his character. So it feels like his character is sort of like screwed in a way, but it could be interesting to see what they do with him, but yeah. And then finally for the last page, which really annoyed me, we do get to see a return of Metalhead. And yay, I can't wait to see another story of Metalhead. I mean, I don't know if I should be looking forward to this or not, but I don't really know what to really say about it. It's just that Metalhead is all like Krang now and just keeps coming back whether you like it or not, and I don't know, I can't really be excited for this anymore. It's just, you know, like keep killing characters off and bring them back and stuff like that. It's just not fun anymore. The only way if I can sort of see this really happening and working really well is maybe if you do something new with Metalhead, maybe make him like a hero or something like that, but I think that making him like a villain again, I think this is going to ruin his character. But yeah, with that being said, I do think that this issue overall was pretty good, and I do think that my like enjoyment for this issue came from me reading it again. And I do recommend everyone do like reread the whole story again, as well as the actual whole Armageddon game itself, because I do think people will actually enjoy it a lot more once you're able to like see the whole bigger picture and stuff like that. But I just think that this issue like set up a lot of stuff for future things to come, and also did a lot of really good things for the characters and lead them off in like decent places. But I just don't really know if this was a really great conclusion to the actual whole story overall. But I just think that it just did a really good job of like ending things off with the Armageddon game and setting things up and cleaning the slate. But I think it's a pretty interesting position that like they left a lot of characters in, and yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today, guys. If you do some, please share, let's just grab no stuff. Goodbye, yo, bye.